Hey guys, on today's show, we're going to do a quick recap of the Charlie Kirk Memorial, some of the highlights I think we all witnessed the other day. And then we're going to discuss the reaction of Candace Owens and weird little rabbit holes she's going down. It's like, girl, 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 girl. We need to talk. Then we're going to discuss how Jimmy Kimmel just got his job back because he's a leftist and they get to do what they want, I guess. And finally, we're going to discuss Trump's beautiful speech at the UN, which just took basically a blowtorch to mass migration. So stick around for all that today on the Angela Box Show.
Hello, my name is Angela Box. Show your personality.
All right, I'm not going to belabor the memorial too much. We all watched it. We all were moved. I basically ugly cried for 3 hours. There were so many parts of it that I just thought were fantastic. One of the parts I just particularly liked, and I remember when I was watching Stephen Miller, I was like, "Oh, they're not going to like this." The psychotic leftists who call us all Nazis are going to be in their feelings about this, and they were, of course. Stephen Miller gets out there. And, they're calling him a Nazi and whatever. It's like, well, he's Jewish, but okay. And he's like, listen, you leftists, you create nothing, you make nothing, you do nothing. What have you given us? Ebonics, twerking, wilding out, not knowing what a woman is. Like, what exactly do Democrats create? Bupkis, okay? So I'm going to pause the video really quick. We're going to watch Stephen Miller, just do a blowtorch to them real quick.
We will prevail over the forces of wickedness and evil. They cannot imagine what they have awakened. They cannot conceive of the army that they have arisen in all of us. Because we stand for what is good, what is virtuous, what is noble. And to those trying to incite violence against us, those trying to foment hatred against us, what do you have? You have nothing. You are nothing. You are wickedness. You are jealousy. You are envy. You are hatred. You are nothing. You can build nothing. You can produce nothing. You can create nothing. We are the ones who build. We are the ones who create. We are the ones who lift up humanity. You thought you could kill Charlie Kirk? You have made him immortal. You have immortalized Charlie Kirk. And now millions will carry on his legacy.
Okay, another clip of Tucker I loved. I love Tucker so much. I love him, and I've missed his laugh. I've missed his laugh so much. And it's interesting because there's people that are like, and this is what I'm going to get into with the Candace Owens thing. Charlie Kirk was like, he was a big tent kind of guy. And I think he realized that we can have different voices, people who may not be completely down with what Israel is doing or the state of Israel, whatever. But he was Charlie's friend. And he spoke just amazingly eloquently at the memorial. And what I love what he said was about the Pharisees. And of course, a bunch of Jewish conservatives are up in their feelings about this. It's like, you guys, can we just listen, I am as pro-Israel as they come, okay? But we can't deny historical reality, okay? And the Pharisees and the Sadducees were calling for the crucifixion of Jesus Christ in order to shut him up. So can we be honest about that, okay? It doesn't mean that I think all Jews killed Jesus. Stop. Anyway, here's what Tucker had to say, and it was just so beautiful.
Ultimately, he was a Christian evangelist. And it actually reminds me of my favorite story ever. So it's about 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem, and Jesus shows up and he starts talking about the people in power, and he starts doing the worst thing that you can do, which is telling the truth about people, and they hate it, and they just go bonkers. They hate it, and they become obsessed with making him stop. This guy's got to stop talking. We've got to shut this guy up. And I can just sort of picture the scene in a lamplit room with a bunch of guys sitting around eating hummus, thinking about what do we do about this guy telling the truth about us? We must make him stop talking. And there's always one guy with the bright idea, and I could just hear him say, I've got an idea, why don't we just kill him? That'll shut him up. That'll fix the problem. It doesn't work that way.
So yes, they had to shut old Charlie Kirk up too, but it didn't, just like with Jesus, didn't blunt Jesus' message at all, did it? No, because after 3 days he rose and he went to his followers and he was like, I'm not a ghost. I'm not an apparition. I'm a real person. Put your fingers in my side. And Charlie, I'm not claiming that Charlie is Jesus Christ. Don't get it twisted. But I do think it's remarkable what Charlie Kirk was able to do, which was kind of extemporaneously speak on the scripture. Like, again, way smarter than I could ever be, way more eloquent than I could ever be. And that's why they wanted to shut him up, because he was extremely effective. But you brain trusts on the left who are celebrating his murder don't seem to understand that you've just made him so much stronger. Like, you are taking a person who people like me peripherally would watch. We loved him. We thought he was great, but it's not like we were watching everything he did. And now you've got people going back and listening to his speeches and watching his debates with people on college campuses and realizing, hang on a minute, everything you said about this guy is a lie. Like, he's actually pretty moderate. And he's just having a debate with people, just having a conversation. But you wanted to kill him for that. Okay, that shows me who you are. And you are red pilling. Let me tell you something, you dumb leftists who thought you were going to shut him up. You are red pilling an entire generation of people who, again, were peripheral political people, or maybe even more on the left, but are like, let me go check this guy out. Like, is he really a Nazi? Is it possible that he's really a Nazi? And my grandma and my mom, they're all Nazis too. And oh, wait a minute. You mean you've been lying about all of my friends too, because you're lying about Charlie Kirk. Like, it's red pilling a lot of people. Now, one of my favorite, and well, I should just say, I mean, there were many, many speeches. Marco Rubio's was great, talking about the gospel in basically 90 seconds. And everyone to a person talked about Charlie's great faith. And Charlie's, that was his number one thing, to be a good man and a good Christian and a good man and a good father and a good husband and a good citizen. Erica Kirk, I was so moved. And I'm going to cry. Like, I cannot stop crying, you guys. Like, I literally can't stop crying. I'll watch something of Charlie. I'll watch him with his kids. I'll watch him with Erica. I'll watch the, like, behind the scenes with them as a couple. And it's like, God, what you took from not just us, this woman, you took her soulmate from her. And when she got up there and she spoke, my God, it was so beautiful. And I just love what she had to say. I mean, I was just riveted by everything she said. And when she talked about how her marriage was and how they had a beautiful marriage, I was so touched by that, because as someone who's newly married and who overall has a really good marriage, like, it was such a beautiful thing to hear and for her to witness. And she said, you know, as a Christian woman and as a conservative woman, a lot of leftist women get sold a bill of goods about what it means to be a wife or what it means to be a mother. And if you do these things, you must be enslaving yourself to this man. It's like, that's not what it is at all. And as someone who considers herself in a traditional marriage, I have no problem with my husband being the head of the house. Okay. I have no problem with him being the spiritual leader of the house, because if you are a strong woman, you need a stronger man, and a man that is very confident in his role. And I love what she said about how men and women are helpmates to each other. There is no enslavement. There is no tyranny. And when Fred and I got married, the preacher, Bobby of Baraka Church, said the same thing. In our, when he was speaking to us, he said, this isn't about slavery or tyranny. This is about biblical roles and traditional roles. And when you get back to the idea of let's get into those traditional roles, you're a lot happier and you're a lot freer. And Erica's speech was, I mean, I'm going to cry again. It was remarkable. And I think she's going to make such an impact. And I just loved it. I love what Trump said too, but it was to me, it was the other speakers, and certainly it was Erica. And Erica, what else can you say? This woman who forgave the killer of her husband, which I suspected that she was going to do that. I suspected that it was going to be a very public forgiveness, and it was beautiful. So I'm going to roll that clip real fast so we can remember that.
Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do. That man, that young man, I forgive him.
I mean, as Christians and as people of faith, we are called to love our enemies. It's hard. It's hard when you see how so many people have been brainwashed purposefully by leftists. But if we can carve away those layers of brainwashing and propagandizing by leftists who call us all Nazis and Hitler, and I mean, we laugh about it, but at this point, it's not funny anymore. It's not funny to dehumanize your political opponent that way, instead of saying we have differences of opinion, but I'm not going to dehumanize you. Because the left has gone so far out on the limb, that's kind of where we are now. And if we don't get back to the center, and well, I should just say this. I think Charlie's death is going to cause us to go back to the center. It is a revival. It is the turning point. It is all the things that we've been talking about. It is people opening up Bibles who've never opened up the Bible. And as someone who's raised Catholic, like notoriously Catholics don't read the Bible. I've been reading my Bible. Okay. People going to church for the first time, finding comfort in the Word of God. It is beautiful. So, I think his legacy is just, it's profound. And it's been 2 weeks and we're still talking about it. And leftists don't want us to keep talking about it. And they're like, God, you guys are obsessed. Why don't you move on? It's like, well, you murdered a good man for having a debate with other people. And on that note, let's get into the Candace thing real quick. Listen, I co-sign everything Candace Owens is doing when it comes to Brigitte Macron. Okay. Candace Owens is being sued by the Macrons for defamation because she has a quite brilliant and well-researched, and it's not even her research. She basically just highlighted this other guy, this French journalist. I can't think of his name. Is it Poussard? I can't remember it. I watched the entire series, Becoming Brigitte. Highly recommended. She makes a pretty strong case, okay, that Brigitte Macron was born a man. And at the very least, we know that Brigitte Macron is a pedophile. All right. She groomed Emmanuel Macron when he was 14 years old. Ooh, gross, nasty. Okay. So obviously Candace is in the middle of a defamation lawsuit with them. And she's come out recently and been like, we're going to have a third party do a medical exam on this person because, I'm sticking to my guns. And Brigitte Macron's like, I'm going to release some pictures of me at these certain points in my life. It's like, well, then listen, sis, you're not fooling anybody. Okay. Like, why didn't you do that before? Okay. You could have put this to bed a long, long time ago by presenting or coming up with any pictures of you actually pregnant in your first wedding. But of course, I guarantee you the pictures she's going to put out are pictures that we've already seen. Okay. That people are like, that ain't Brigitte Macron. Anyway, that's a whole nother side note. I support what Candace is doing on that. I do not support what's going on with her when it comes to Israel or her hanging out with like Kanye West. She calls him Ye. I think he's influenced her in not the best way. I think that her rabbit holes now, when it comes to the death of Charlie, are unfounded. Like her thinking that Israel and Mossad had something to do with his murder is just, it is not supported by any evidence whatsoever. Okay. Here's the conspiracy. Here's the rabbit hole I would like to see Candace Owens go down. Like, let's go down the rabbit hole of who was this guy talking to? What groups was he a part of? How did he get radicalized? Who is his boyfriend, Lance Twiggs? Who are the Salt Lake City armed queers group? Like, let's get into that. Let's get into perhaps why was there reportedly around $70,000 put into the bank accounts of Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs by the Democrat Socialists of America. Let's talk about who radicalized this person. Let's go down that rabbit hole. But to say that somehow Benjamin Netanyahu, who's fighting a war against Hamas, somehow has the wherewithal to be like, I think we should kill Charlie because Charlie is starting to turn his back on the state of Israel, which there was no evidence for that. Some people are like, oh yeah, he was starting to get red-pilled about Israel. And I mean, like, do we have to agree with everything Israel's doing? No, but they're fighting against some 7th century cave dwellers who don't have a problem with infidels being beheaded or gays being thrown off roofs or whatever the hell their backwards ass religion tells them to do. Okay, we're dealing with a group of people, Hamas, people like Ilhan Omar, dirtbag Muslims, and not all Muslims are dirtbags. Don't get it twisted. Just the radical ones. And just saying, it seems like there's a lot of radicalization going on, even on the right, defending Hamas, defending what these people have done on October 7th. Like, do you think Benjamin Netanyahu has the time or energy to like assassinate Charlie Kirk? And this also this idea is these rabbit holes she's going down of Tyler Robinson wasn't the real killer. It's like, yes, he was. Yes, he was. Now, granted, those text messages that were released are a little weird. They're a little too pat. I will agree with you on that. Okay. And I'm sure that the FBI is getting to the bottom of that too, because if there's deep state actors who were involved in this plot to kill Charlie Kirk, which I 100% think that there were, do we not think that they could have concocted a text string between Tyler and his boyfriend? Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Do I think Tyler Robinson is a patsy? No. Do I think that Tyler Robinson acted alone? No. I think there was quite a large network behind him. Okay. And that is what Kash Patel and the FBI are getting to the bottom of. But for Candace Owens to go off half-cocked and to say that I'm going to get to the bottom of the murder of my friend when there are several reports that, he and Candace had a falling out a while back because Eric Bolling said the other day, he said he wasn't trying to talk shit about Candace. He was just like, look, Charlie was a little wary of Candace in the last few years because of some of the rabbit holes she went down. And it just got a little extreme for him. Like the hard on she's got for Israel. Like, no, it's not the Jews doing everything, Candace. So I don't know, man. I've always liked her. I think she's brilliant. I think that she and Charlie were at the very beginning of something and they created something really beautiful with Turning Point. And I just wish she could come off the Israel is evil cliff. Like, I don't get it. I've said this on the show before. I don't understand the hard on for Israel. I really don't. And so save your comments for someone else, because I will always get comments about, oh, you Jew lover, like really gross stuff. It's like, you guys are proving my point. Okay. And on that note, the fact that we've got several major European countries who have been invaded by the Muslim horde, willingly, they're like, come on in, change our culture, do whatever you want, knock yourselves out. declaring Palestinian statehood. And guess who's excited about that? Hamas is excited about that. You dummies. When are you brain trust going to figure out you can't negotiate with terrorists? Period. Dot. The end. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. I just wish I wish Candace would save the rabbit holes for the Brigitte Macrons of the world, because that's a rabbit hole I can get behind. But this whole Israel killed Charlie Kirk, no, sis, no. I think Tyler Robinson was certainly radicalized by a network of people, and perhaps we should go down a rabbit hole to find out about that. And I think as time goes on, we're going to learn more about that. So anyway, come on, girl. Come back to the light. You in danger, girl. Okay, on that note, Kimmel, Jimmy Kimmel. I made a whole video about Kimmel and how I used to work for him and how he didn't used to be such an asshole. And he got corrupted by leftists, and he got corrupted by the money. And he was like, I know what I have to do to stay in the good graces of these people. I have to become a radical leftist. And I'm not saying he's doing it for show. I think he has become corrupted and insane. But what's disgusting is that every leftist on planet Earth was, having a meltdown over ABC suspending his show. And the reason they suspended his show, and this is what's infuriating. They're trying to couch it like, we suspended his show because he said some insensitive things in this very tumultuous time. It's like, no, he didn't say insensitive things. Okay. I don't care if he says insensitive things. What I cared about was that he tripped the broadcast hoax provision of the FCC, which specifically says you are not allowed to go on public airwaves and say knowably things that are false, knowable things that are lies. And what Jimmy Kimmel said, in essence, was that it was a MAGA person that killed Charlie Kirk. That is what he said. That is why he was suspended. Now, of course, every leftist over the weekend, one of them went and shot up an ABC affiliate in San Francisco, and everyone's like, oh, I don't know what the motive could have possibly been. It's like, you mean a radicalized leftist teacher went and just shot up a affiliate right after Kimmel gets pulled, and you don't know what the reason is? Okay. They all had a meltdown over the weekend. They're like, we're gonna take our jollies and go home. All the Marvel actors and the Star Wars people, like all the worst people okay? And Disney was really in a catch-22 because Disney's the parent company of ABC. And I'm sad to say, listen, don't come for me. Don't come for me. We don't get cable anymore, so we have all the streaming services. And unfortunately, Hulu is one of them. And Hulu is owned by Disney. So I know. Money where your mouth is. I got it. It is what it is. But all these leftists are like, we're going to cancel Disney and blah, 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 blah. And Disney, they're in such a pickle because this is the monster they created. Because Disney, for the past few years, has been glorifying transgenderism, pushing queer theory onto kids, pushing ridiculous climate change nonsense, fear porn into the minds of children. Remaking Disney films in a woke tard way like Snow White and all the other crap they've been doing. Okay. And so ruining Star Wars, ruining everything, just again, taking a shit on everything they touch. That is what leftists do. But they were like, oh no, I guess all of our Hollywood friends, we better do what they say or they're not going to like us anymore. So of course they put Kimmel back on, and I'm taping this before he's actually going back on the air. So I don't know if Kimmel is actually going to be forced to apologize or walk back what he said. Like as of a few days ago, he's like, I'm not apologizing. I'm not walking back anything. And so it's like, well, if he's not going to clarify what he said or say, listen, I misspoke, or I didn't know all the facts, and I want to apologize to Charlie Kirk, and I want to apologize to MAGA because it wasn't someone from MAGA, it was someone on the left, and we must condemn political violence, period, at the end. Unless he does something like that, like he can go F himself, okay? And it's just going to be a matter of time before his show is off the air because he doesn't have any ratings. It's propped up by air. It's propped up by left-wing echo chamber people. And that's not going to be a sustainable model because you're losing audience over and over and over again. So supposedly Kimmel's contract is done at the end of 2025, I will imagine that that is when they're going to cut him loose and let him move to Italy like he claimed he was going to do. Like, go right ahead. Go right ahead. Kimmel is, feeling himself. He's cat that ate the canary. He thinks he won. He beat MAGA. It's like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. What you did is once again, these leftists have shown they have no standards whatsoever. They are full of hypocrisies. They are full of double standards. They all cheered and clapped and said huzzah when all these conservatives got canceled, including President Trump losing Twitter, losing Facebook, losing Instagram after January 6th, when he said, please go home, be peaceful. They don't care. They don't want that out there. They don't want that out there. They want lies out there. So then the best way to do that is to deplatform somebody. And as someone who's been deplatformed many's the time, okay, I've been deplatformed and I am still deplatformed on TikTok. Cannot get back on TikTok to save my life. They suspend every single news channel I put out there. Whatever. Okay, you're proving our point. There is one standard for leftists and one standard for the rest of us. And this is what you don't seem to get, leftists, is that so many people have been red-pilled because of Charlie's death. You don't get it, but it's okay. You will soon. You will soon when Kimmel's pulled off the air for good. You will soon when Jimmy Fallon's pulled off the air and Seth Meyers is pulled off the air because they're not funny. They're not funny. They're strident little woke tards who are scolding everybody for their wrong thing. That's not anything anyone wants to watch. So, you may have won this battle, but you're not going to win the war. Okay, finally, Trump went to the United Nations on Tuesday, and there was evidently some sort of a cybersecurity threat that was shut down. Evidently, someone was trying to hack a bunch of. Basically, they tried to do a cyber attack, and it didn't work. Foiled again, leftist, and they're gonna try and blame it on Russia. And it's like at some point, you're like, it's not always. It's spoiler. It's never Russia. Okay, it's never Russia. If it's always Russia, it's never Russia. So I imagine we're gonna come to find out it's the usual left-wing suspects who tried to do the cyber outage. But Trump is like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. His speech was a blowtorch. I tell you, a blowtorch, a subdued blowtorch. It wasn't Trump being blustery Trump. It was Trump just like laying out the facts and being like, listen, Europe, not only is declaring a Palestinian state a terrible idea because it basically gives everything Hamas wants on a silver platter, but also you're purposely destroying your countries with mass migration. And I think that when we deconstruct everything that's gone on in the past 10 years or 15 years, certainly since Obama, George Soros working with Obama, fundamental transformation. That's kind of when it all started. The opening of the countries, the wanting to blend the countries, the World Economic Forum talking about the Great Reset. We must blend all the countries together and not have any borders and not have any languages. And of course, when you do that, you become completely balkanized and you become completely isolated because people don't have a sense of community with their home countries anymore. And Trump very eloquently said this, and I'm gonna show you this clip. He said that that by opening your borders to every third world hellhole on planet Earth, I mean, you're destroying your language, you're destroying your culture. And part of being a country is having borders, and part of being a country is having a common language, and part of being a country is having a common culture and a common religion. But if you bring people in there who are antithetical to all those things, your country's going to collapse, which is, of course, it's what the left wants, isn't it? So I'm going to roll that clip real quick. Here it is.
Not only is the UN not solving the problems it should, too often, it's actually creating new problems for us to solve. The best example is the number one political issue of our time, the crisis of uncontrolled migration. It's uncontrolled. Your countries are being ruined. The United Nations is funding an assault on Western countries and their borders. In 2024, the UN budgeted $372 million in cash assistance to support an estimated 624,000 migrants journeying into the United States. Think of that. The UN is supporting people that are illegally coming into the United States, and then we have to get them out. The UN also provided food, shelter, transportation, and debit cards to illegal aliens. Can you believe that? On the way to infiltrate our southern border. Millions of people came through that southern border. Just a year ago, millions and millions of people were pouring in, 25 million altogether over the 4 years of the incompetent Biden administration. And now we have it stopped, totally stopped. In fact, they're not even coming anymore because they know they can't get through. But what took place is totally unacceptable. The UN is supposed to stop invasions, not create them and not finance them. In the United States, we reject the idea that mass numbers of people from foreign lands can be permitted to travel halfway around the world, trample our borders, violate our sovereignty, cause unmitigated crime, and deplete our social safety net.
All right. This is a tweet from Eric Doherty on X. Here's what he said, basically. I'm going to put this up on the screen. At the UN, President Trump, this is quite a list here, called for protections for Christians, eviscerated the UN for funding mass migration into the US and Western countries, said Europe must stop adopting Sharia law. And on that note, you guys, what's going on in England right now should scare the crap out of everybody, okay? I'm gonna drop this clip too. I saw it on Data Republican, but a different creator found this, and what is his name? You'll see it. You'll see it. In England, Jews can't walk around. They're like, you're actively being Jewish in this Palestinian gathering, and it's inciting violence. Roll that clip.
You are quite openly Jewish. This is a pro-Palestinian march. I'm not accusing you of anything, but I'm worried about the reaction to you. You've been escorted out of this area so you can go about your business, go where you like freely, or if you choose to remain here, because you are causing a breach of these people and these other people, you will be arrested. They will discuss this with you.
If I remain here, you will arrest me.
Because your presence here is antagonising a larger border. We can't deal with all of them if they attack you or if they because your presence is antagonising.
What? Yeah. I think we've seen this movie before. Anyway, said Europe must stop adopting Sharia law, harshly criticized globalism, slammed the UN for its climate alarmism, scorched countries for funding Russia's war, promoted fossil fuels. Now, scorched countries for funding Russia's war. You know how they're funding Russia's war? They keep buying their oil. See, this is how you know it's a scam. This is how you know the whole Ukrainian war is a scam. And it's something that they want to continue on and on and on until the end of time, because they're money laundering money into Ukraine and they're getting rich off of it. And if they were really serious about stopping Russia, if they were really serious, they would be putting sanctions on Russia like the United States is. And Trump's like, you should stop buying their oil. Like, you should probably stop doing that if you were really serious. But they're not. They're not. And Trump called them out. Let's see what else. Scorched country. Okay, I read that. Promoted fossil fuels. Urged country to stop falling for the green scam. Said that the UN doesn't back up its words with any meaningful action on issues that matter. And not only that, ladies and gentlemen, remember, they let countries like Iran sit on the Human Rights Committee or whatever it's called. Like, are you kidding me? Where women can't even walk down a street without a man, or covered head to toe in beekeeper garb. Like, spare me. Preached American exceptionalism and said none of their countries come close. That's good. Demanded an end to biological weapons. Concluded by urging UN members to protect their national identities by clamping down on mass migration and serving your people. And that is the clip I showed. That is the clip I showed. And I feel like that just is a beautiful coda to everything he said. It's like, you better start reversing course, toot sweet, or you're not going to have any more countries. Now, there are a few countries that are not playing around, like the United States, like Argentina, like El Salvador, like, Bolsonaro, poor guy listen, what's going on with Bolsonaro in Brazil should scare the crap out of people, because that's exactly what would have happened to Trump had Kamala Harris won, or they'd been able to dump enough ballots to make her win. they would have thrown Trump into prison. He would have been in prison for the rest of his life. That's 100% what they do. There are a few countries that seem to understand that doing the things we've been doing is not working. And I think more and more countries are going to start waking up to this. I think that the UK is on the brink. I think Nigel Farage is going to be the next prime minister. I think that he's going to start remigrating these people, cutting off all welfare benefits to these people. Like, these are the things that should be done. Okay. These people are being brought in to destroy Western civilization. That is the goal of George Soros. That is the goal of the World Economic Forum. And that is the goal of the United Nations, which should also be defunded and disbanded. And if the United States pulls their money from the UN, which I sincerely hope we do, that is the end of the United Nations. Like, what do we need these people for? Anyway, we don't. Okay. Let every country stand on their own. Let every country make their own countries great again. That is what President Trump is saying. And that is what he is so brilliant at doing. So, kind of a longer video today, you guys. I'm rambling at this point, but yeah, I mean, every day it's more. Every day it's more effing around and finding out. And whether it's Jimmy Kimmel, whether it's the people who are celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, whether it's the juxtaposition between the right and the left when it comes to when people are assassinated on our side versus the left celebrating drug addicted, fentanyl eating, felonious scum like St. George Floyd of fentanyl, which, side note, isn't it funny? George Floyd and Charlie Kirk have the same birthday, different years, but the same birthday. That's pretty interesting. They're showing their ass. They showing that ass. And I say, keep showing that ass, because you're red pilling more and more people as you do it. All right. That is where I'm going to leave today's video. Please let me know what you think down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, do all the things. And I will see you in the next video. I will be done. Bye.